Hello and welcome to our latest edition of BizEngineTV. I'm Matt Sullivan.
And I'm Dave Choate.
First of all, allow me to apologize for not being here for the last episode. We've talked to Jesse, gave him his meds and put him back in his corner. As always, stay up to date on our BizEngine news through following us on Twitter at the BizEngine, on Facebook, which is facebook.com/BizEngine, and always on our website, www.bizengine.com. And I guess we can just jump right into this week's news.
Let's do it.
So the first one comes from CBS News, talking about, let me just review everything. Actually, I should have known this one was going to be on here. The healthcare reform law, which is, in front of the Supreme Court this week. Have you been listening to any of the live feeds or whatnot?
I have not, because I would die of boredom, but I have been reading about it. So, there's some interesting stuff going on up there right now.
Yeah, it was, I forget which one of the justices said something, but he referenced cruel and unusual punishment because the healthcare bill is 2,700 pages, and he's like, I'm supposed to read all this? But small business owners are kind of conflicted on whether or not they're in form of it being repealed or keeping it as is. I know, for a lot of small businesses, it does incur extra costs in order to meet the mandates. But then for some small businesses, they talk about how they're now able to get better coverage than they ever were, and they don't have to nickel and dime their employees, nor do they have to fight for every inch or every little thing that's going to get covered under policies.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing. There's obviously the political fault lines here. Some people on either side of the aisle are going to like it or not like it, independent of their business. But for some folks, it's just the practical reality of how it affects them. Do they have to spend too much, or what they feel is too much, or are they getting something out of it? So,
right.
That's it's going to be interesting to see which way this goes, given that.
It's and for those of you that are geeky like Dave. There's I'll find the link for it. Great episode of This American Life about how healthcare and healthcare insurance really became a work benefit or work perk, and this goes all the way back to World War II when wages were frozen and people still had to attract employees.
When Matt was a young man.
Oh, imagine. So I'll post a link for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. So our next story here is returning back to the Congress theme. We've been on this for a couple of weeks now, just kind of following some of the small business bills that are passing through the House. Right now, the House Small Business Committee is actually taking a look at 8 different bills they want to put out to the larger House. A couple of them very useful, a couple of them maybe not, but what's interesting here is it's a direct reaction to the fact that, like we talked about the other week, a lot of small businesses aren't getting small business contracts. Larger businesses are getting them.
Yeah,
and that's an issue.
Yeah, it's I'm all for. I mentioned it a few times. I like the idea of free market economies, but sometimes you need these regulations in place, and it's if they're going to be in place, they need to be enforced. Especially when there's earmarked contracts and funds to go to small businesses to help the mom and pop organizations, and they're getting snatched up by large businesses, not the small ones.
Exactly, and I mean, one of the interesting things here is, the amount for contracts towards small businesses has been 23% of all of these contracts. It'll be up to 25%, which sounds like a small amount when you're talking about billions of dollars.
Yeah, you're talking federal budget. 25% of that is.
That's a lot of money. So
that's a lot of $800 toilets.
That is a lot of $800 toilets, which are great, by the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then finally, the last one we want to touch on, it's actually piggybacking off something we discussed, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about shrinking budgets. Small businesses, are they putting enough into their marketing plans for 2012? And this comes from AT&T and marketingpilgrim.com, talking about where companies are spending their money this year. And actually one thing that I liked is talking about 2011 is the social media winners. I'm a bit of a social media geek, at Sully on Twitter. So it's that LinkedIn was actually the big small business winner, with user adoption growing from something like 31% to 39%. It took a big jump.
Yeah.
They all grew. Facebook grew from like 41 to 44% adoption of small business users. But the big thing that I think a lot of people have been talking about for the past 2 years, really since the iPhone came out, and you're going to see it explode in 2012, is mobile adoption, is how businesses can use mobile to better market. There's now more smartphones in the country, or being sold on a yearly basis, than there are actual computers. 75% of people check email on smartphones first before computers, and it becomes a whole mental shift, especially as a marketer, is how are you using that medium and the way people use it in order to turn them into customers, really.
Yeah, and it's a big change for a lot of small businesses.
Yeah, it's I always drill this. My father's a small business owner. Drill the fact that social media is just word of mouth through technology. It's no different than a cocktail party or running into somebody and hey, I just worked with so and so and it was a great experience. Now people can just get the word out there faster and to more people.
Exactly, and one of the things that was interesting about that article is 79% of small businesses use word of mouth marketing. So if you think of it as an extension of what you're already doing,
yeah,
it's a great thing.
And then finally, just because it is the end of March going into April, tax season is our business book of the week, is Small Business Taxes Made Easy. It's a painful fact of life, as is death, but taxes are inevitable. So I know that we've been writing a lot of great posts about the minutia of the different forms you need to fill out, and this is just another great resource to help our small business owners, not get bled dry by taxes.
Exactly, it really simplifies things, breaks it down. Eva Rosenberg's a really good tax expert. She'll make it easy to understand for you, and if you get a couple more deductions out of it, then everybody wins.
Great, so that's all we got for this week.
Yeah, I think so. So
all right, thank you.
Thank you.